Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Literature and Random Videos by Neha Sultana. In today's video, I'll be reading Tradition and the Individual Talent by T.S. Eliot. So this particular topic is prescribed for a critical theory paper in third semester of Masters of English, and I'm following the syllabus of Gulbarga University. So before I begin my video, I would like to say if you're new here, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to never miss an upcoming updates. Okay, introduction. Tradition and the Individual Talent, which was published in 1919, is an essay written by poet and literary critic T.S. Eliot. The essay was first published in The Egoist 1919 and later in Eliot's first book of criticism, The Sacred Wood. The essay is also available in Eliot's selected prose and selected essays. It talks about how artists get ideas from the past but also put their own special touch to make something new. It discusses how artists connect with the artistic heritage while adding their own personal touch to create something new and meaningful. And Eliot states that the word traditional is rarely talked about in terms of writing, except in a derogatory sense. Eliot is saying that people don't usually use the word traditional in a positive way when talking about writing. They often criticize writers who stick to older styles. Eliot wants to change this weave, suggesting that the most valuable part of a poem are the ones connected to the past. However, by following tradition, Eliot does not mean imitating one's most recent ancestors. Instead, he means that a traditional poet has a historical sense which makes them conscious of the whole past as if it were the present. All poetry together forms a connected whole where new poetry affects it and old poetry guides it. According to Eliot, a critic can't appreciate today's poetry without comparing it to the past. The old and new poems influence each other, with the new fitting with the old and the old adapting to include the new. And Eliot suggests that when the English praise a poet, they focus on the poet's uniqueness, distancing them from predecessors. How he argues that the best aspects of a poet's work are those resembling the past. By letting go of this bias, readers can see the poet's true individuality and maturity in the parts that echo the timeless qualities of earlier poets. Eliot points out that the English never used the word tradition to praise either living or dead writers. Every group of people has its own distinct way of criticizing. Every group is blind to the prejudices of its way of criticizing, in the same way that it is blind to the flaws in its way of being creative. For instance, the French have produced so much critical writing, and that the English tend to think the French are more critical than themselves and less spontaneous. However, Eliot points out that being critical is as inevitable as breathing, and that it would be beneficial for our reader to put into word the feelings and thoughts they naturally have while reading anything. However, Eliot cautions that tradition would be discouraged if it simply meant imitating what our ancestors did, as he believes creating something new is better than imitation. The tradition he talks about is not just inherited, it requires hard work and is broader in scope. He emphasizes the importance of the historical sense for those aspiring to be lifelong poets, suggesting an understanding of the past is essential. Eliot instructs the traditional poet when keeping the past in mind and not to view it indiscriminately or with preference to certain people or periods. Instead, the poet must keep in mind the whole flow of history. While the traditional poet knows that that Europe's mind is constantly changing, yet leaving behind none of its past developments, neither Shakespeare nor Homer. He also knows that this development is not the same thing as improvement. Eliot acknowledges that many people object to his idea of poetic profession, saying that it involves too much learning. Many believe that too much learning limits the poet's instincts, inherent impulse, which means inherent impulse. Eliot agrees that poets need some laziness and spontaneity, but he doesn't want knowledge to be too simplified. He thinks some people can easily understand things while others need to put in effort. And Eliot asserts, which means believe confidently, that readers should criticize and appreciate poems, not the poets who wrote them. One hears a lots of poets, but rarely finds a true poem. In the case of a mature poet, the poet's mind is not profound because they are more interesting or have a greater personality, but because they are able to combine feelings in new ways. In Eliot's analogy, the platinum is the poet. In the perfect poem, the creative part of the mind is entirely separate from the part that experiences and feels. If these are separate, the creative mind will better be able to craft the passions, its material into works of art. Eliot says that poetry comes neither from emotion nor recollection nor tranquility. Rather, it is the result of concentration. The poet concentrates many experiences until they finally unite. Mostly, the poet does this unconsciously. फिर इसके बाद में आपको यहाँ पर कंक्लूजन लिखकर ये पूरा जो है आंसर को वाइंड अप कर देना है. So if you like this video, then please make sure to subscribe and see you in the next video.